Okay guys, jumping into this one quick. I'll fill you in on the details first though. Not much to it really, just that apparently I tend to pass out whenever I have to think about human anatomy. Not even particularly anything super graphic or gory. I can deal with that alright surprisingly. But like anything where I think, oh, that's happening inside me right now. I have no way to really do anything about that. Yeah, you'll see what I mean. First time I just dipped from consciousness was way back in 5th grade, which must have scared the life out of my teacher looking back on it, but moving on. So it's 5th grade, covering all the stuff about growing up and getting older, and all the uncomfortable stuff. They have the incredible ability to make 1,000 times more awkward and agonizing to sit through by pure virtue of trying to do the exact opposite. So anyways, was just chilling in science, having a kind of cringe time, but couldn't do much about that. And then the teacher started talking about the digestive system. Yeah, I know. Not what you might have expected, but bear with me here. I began to feel like super tired and tingly, kind of like if you were putting an oven on bake. And it got so bad to the point where I even took off my jacket. Now, that probably sounds obvious, but I was the kind of kid where like even in the dead of summer, heat waves visibly radiating off the scorched blacktop, kids' hair set in light from the pure thermal atmosphere, water disappearing faster than food at the cafeteria on pizza day. I was always wearing my jacket. So, like, unless it was nuclear apocalypse or take off my jacket, I wasn't going to budge on this. And that's a good indicator of how weird this event was. So I took off my jacket and I started to kind of panic, but in a weird way where things kind of closed off and narrowed around me. I couldn't hear much. My vision was reduced to binocular levels of view, and all I could experience was vague notions of feeling the chair I was sitting on, beads of sweat forming on my face, and the digestive system slowly invading its way into my mind, seeping its way into the cracks of my mind, yeah. My stomach basically flew out of my body from how uneasy it felt. I didn't throw up. It's, like roller coaster levels of organ shift where your heart just magically gains like 3 feet of elevation. And all of a sudden, the world got this really strange tilt to it. Ever seen Thor: The Dark World? Know how they have all the random Dutch angles in it, where it looks like the friggin' camera tripod they were filming on broke a leg halfway and they just rolled with it? That's almost exactly what I got in that moment, and like halfway through everything going horizontal, the black rim around my field of view closed in like a snake going in for the kill. I know. Amazing metaphor. There's a chance I made it like a kind of sad attempt to not fall over, but it was most likely limited to a small groan from my barely moving vocal cords and like a limp arm raise to signal to my friend that Mayday, Mayday, I repeat, the ship is sinking. Call the Coast Guard, the hospital, the principal, the president, my mom, literally anyone. So next thing I knew, I woke from a kind of nice feeling sleep, ready to start my day and go to school. Had a nice 6 a.m. because that's when we had to wake up. Apparently, that's scary. Then it hit me. My wall isn't this color. What? Yeah, that was actually a solid metal bookcase. I was like maybe half a foot away from making a delicious brain sandwich all over the classroom floor. Um, it also helps that some like faint noise and poking had prodded me awake. And that's when I saw the teacher, who in my mind had just like shadow teleported over to me, trying to get me to wake up and not get fired in the process. Like 100% would not have been her fault. Like no way she could control that. But still not a great look, to be fair. So I got back up kind of slowly since I still had a bunch of tingles everywhere, like I was a baby porcupine growing quills for the first time. And I realized 3 things. 1, I just passed out. That is really weird. 2, I just passed out in front of my entire class, which is freaking embarrassing. And 3, I had a slight headache and was absolutely starving, which were my main concerns at that point. Gotta have my food. I forget whether I stayed the rest of the class, just propped up feebly in my seat like a beanbag or like a rag doll, just trying to like sit there doing nothing, or was just sent to the office, no question, by the teacher who was justifiably freaking out. But at some point between waking up and getting to the office, my face finally felt free of the scratchy carpet I had not so gracefully face planted onto. I may have looked slightly like a drunk elementary schooler to any unaware observers, which I would have found much funnier had my legs been cooperating with what signals my brain was frantically sending out. I know this doesn't seem crazy, especially related to the reasons I claimed for passing out, but like, I was just so sure. it was because of the digestive system. Literally my worst enemy to date. Can't even lie. Hate that thing. Imagine having a stomach. Couldn't be me. I don't know how I eat food. Anyways, so then it was lunch, and I was kind of relaxing in the office as much as I could given the circumstances. And eventually my mom arrived and was like, you good, fam? I was doing fine at that point, actually. Happily crunching on a pretty decent, like, cinnamon breakfast cookie thing one of the staff members or the school nurse had given me, and elegantly sipping some finely chilled artisanal milk from the cafeteria. So I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I be? Can I go to recess now, man? Like, all my friends are out there, and yeah. I think she found that kind of funny. Because after the school day was over, I think we might have gone and gotten ice cream to make up for whatever the heck just happened. After first checking and stuff to make sure I was really all good. And that ice cream wouldn't be like the singular thing that would cause massive intestinal or brain damage or something, you know. My one weakness exposed. So that was the first time. Very weird. That was like a one-off thing. Just one of those casual, unexplained stories that I could remind some friends with. Like, hey, remember that time I passed out? No? Well, I'll tell you now. Anyways. So the second time, I was like fully prepared for all of this. I was an expert, clearly, and nothing was going to stop me from freaking out and panicking like a duck, violently fending off a swarm of dogs at the park. This time, also in science, hilariously, we had a substitute teacher. Now keep this in mind. This time was also kind of bodily related, and is the second piece of evidence in my diagnosis for what triggers me to like forget to be conscious for a few seconds. You know, it just slips my mind, really. We had been given some busy work by our teacher, who really was like the nicest, sweetest teacher ever, which makes this even more hilarious. Anyways, sub was chilling, class was working, remarkably quiet, all things considered. Like, this was a once in a blue moon type event for them. And I was like, cool, let's get cracking on this worksheet. And then I saw it was about different types of blood and organ cells. And I was like, are you kidding me? Needless to say, my table mates probably were super confused when I first started raving like a madman about how the world was gonna go dark. This is the end, man. Make sure I don't fall onto the floor like last time, okay? And maybe put the pieces together when my head smacked into the desk with what I'm told was a resounding thunk. Heads turned, eyes widened, and the sub probably died a little inside, since apparently I was out for even longer than last time, maybe 30 seconds or so. Enough for the, like, obituary to be like, oh yeah, he's dead. He's just full dead. I was an ultra skilled unconscious gamer though, and didn't roll my head onto the floor, watermelon exploding style. So that was nice. Tried to play it off all normal too once I woke up, like, hey guys, what's up? What'd I miss? Yeah, that did not work well. And this time was also accompanied by, flashing headache and severe hunger pains. Not to mention my crippling sea legs predicament that mimicked alcoholism last time. Always fun, always fun. The sub sent another person with me to the office, after I ever so smoothly fell down trying to get out of my chair. Like an absolute boss, not gonna lie. And this time my mom was like, it happened again. And I just sighed like, yeah, it did. Hooray. Again, my mom was cool and made an extra yummy dinner that night to help me feel better, which was awesome of her. The best part is, it just blows my mind. My teacher, not the sub, but like my teacher, never found out. Like, the second one was in 6th grade, so period schedule stuff was a thing. So technically, I even had several teachers who might have wanted to know that slightly important information that day. But nope, not a single one did. Somehow nobody else mentioned it, like in passing, or like how kids will when they just shout random information that's like the most critically personal stuff ever. Hey, do you want to know my mom's credit card number? And it's right here. This is our address. This is the safe to my college savings. Like, surprisingly none of that happened. The administration never told any of them. Like, I don't know how that never got connected. And I was too awkward and shy to be like, hey, so I might, like, hypothetically leave for a few seconds. Oh, take the hall pass? No, I meant, I'll be staying in my seat. Don't worry, man. I meant, like, leave from consciousness. I think maybe the year after my homeroom teacher found out and was like, why didn't I ever hear about this? I just shrugged like, I don't know, man. And it became a slight inside joke because of how ridiculous it was. And to this day, I don't think my science teacher ever found out. And that sub must have been terrible because, like, that's exactly the thing you should mark in a sub report, just in case, something bad happens. But I guess they didn't. Eh, worked out fine for me. And I'm not dead yet, so like something must have gone right, maybe. Anyways, that's all I got for you wonderful viewers this time. I do want to give a shout out to my awesome friend for, recording the parkour this time for me, and also, having like an actual texture pack that looks nice compared to kind of the less than optimal visuals I was running last time. Helped me out there a lot. Appreciate it. Also, Hypixel, please sponsor me. I want money. Kidding. Either way, that's all, and I'll see you next time, guys.